Good morning, boxing fans everywhere. This is me, LeRoy Peters, and we're now on the fourth episode of World of Boxing according to LeRoy. It is December 14th at 11:54 Eastern Time. I'm here to talk. I'm here to talk about the Anthony Joshua Kubret Pulev fight. Um, and first and foremost, I want to say congratulations to Anthony Joshua. He's one of my in fact, he's one of my favorite, two of my favorite fighters in the heavyweight division. He did what he had to do. I like to talk about his improvements and what he needs to improve if he has any chance of beating Tyson Fury in the future. First and foremost, I want to say that Joshua did what he had to do again. And my thing is, the way he fought Pulev, he could have finished him early in the fight. If you haven't heard or read the fight, he knocked out Pulev in the ninth round, but he could have finished him in the third round when he knocked him down twice. Um, Perhaps it was strategy because Pulev did talk a lot of trash before the fight, and so maybe Joshua was punishing him. So I guess if I was in Joshua's case, I probably understand that. But all in all, there was he could have if he wanted to, he could have finished Pulev early and the story because Pulev. Even though he looked like he came in good shape, Pulev didn't look like he was coming there for a paycheck. To his credit, he did take some of Joshua's best shots, and he was trying to give a good fight for as long as he lasted. So I take nothing away from Pulev, but he was definitely it was he was definitely in with a better fighter than Anthony Joshua. Also, I think Joshua had definitely youth on his side at 31, while Pulev was 39. 9 times out of 10, youth usually wins. Um, After the fight, um, Joshua was interviewed about who he wants to fight next, and the fans all said Tyson Fury. What worried about me about Joshua is that he was hesitant to say who he wants to fight next at first, but in the end, he said, "If it's Tyson Fury you want, so be it." Um, Here are two things I think that's preventing the Fury fight from happening. One is Deontay Wilder. He is forcing a mediation to enforce a third fight with Tyson Fury. So that could be in the way. And also Joshua, who holds the IBF, WBO, and WBA heavyweight titles, he has another mandatory. Kubret Pulev was IBF mandatory. His WBO mandatory is Alexander Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion. The WBO said they're not going to allow Joshua to skip another mandatory. In other words, either fight Usyk, is mandatory, or be stripped of the WBO title. And if Anthony Joshua is serious about wanting to unify all four heavyweight titles, then common sense says he should fight Alexander Usyk next. Personally, I don't think Usyk has any business being in the heavyweight division. At six heavyweight, neither. And going up against someone like Anthony Joshua, who's 6'6" and fights between 237 and 254, and he's strong and he hits hard, he could easily hurt Usyk. Usyk wouldn't last against Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, not even against Luis Ortiz or Andy Ruiz for that matter. If I was Usyk, I'd definitely consider going back down to cruiserweight where he dominated. But because he's only had 2 fights at heavyweight, and from what I've seen, I'm not that impressed. I'll be shocked if he lasts more than 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua, if Joshua decides to fight him next instead of Tyson Fury. Back to the Fury, as much as I like Joshua, what I saw in the fight with Pulev, I'm going to start with his improvements. Joshua, who's usually known as a headhunter, did some body shots. He went to the body a couple times against Pulev. That's an improvement. He came in much slimmer than I usually see him at. His last fight, he was 237 in the rematch against Ruiz. He came in at 240. He looked pretty good, not as bulky. And he also showed pretty good stamina, even though, like I said, he could have easily finished Pulev in the early rounds instead of letting it go all 9 rounds. But he showed like he didn't punch himself out or he was out of breath. So in all in all, those were the only improvements I saw in Anthony Joshua's repertoire. What concerns me is Joshua against Fury. Fury is 6'9", and he fights between 250 and 275 pounds. And when, again, as I mentioned in a couple episodes ago, I don't like Tyson Fury, but I got to respect the man. And what impressed me about him is the fact that for a man who's very big, he moves pretty quick. For a super heavyweight, he moves like a super lightweight. He's got great head movement. Even though he's not a hard puncher, he can connect. And I think he could easily, as much as it pains me to say this, he could easily beat Anthony Joshua a lot faster than he did Deontay Wilder. Right now, Deontay Wilder is probably the most dangerous man in the heavyweight division, and Tyson Fury figured out a way how to beat him this past February. For Joshua to have a remote chance against Fury, he has to take huge risks. And one of those risks is trying to go to the body like he did against Pulev. It's a risk because then Fury has a chance of hitting him, whooping him. And like I said, it's not a huge chance, but that's Joshua's only chance. I would like to see Joshua victorious, but who knows? That the fight has to happen. So we'll wait what happens in the new year. I also want to talk about some of the undercard that happened, the fight undercard. I was impressed by some of the fights that happened on the undercard. The junior middleweight division between Kieran Conway and Macaulay McCowan. That was a good fight. Conway won by 10-round unanimous decision. What was funny about this fight is that these two guys only had 3 knockouts in like 16 fights, 16 victories. And Conway bloodied McCowan in the fight, and knocked him down too. The only complaint I have on the undercard was the first fight, which was welterweight, Albanian named Maku against a British guy named Jamie Stewart. It was a good fight, but Maku clearly won, and he was robbed by the referee. The fight was declared a draw when it should have been a complete victory for Maku. This is the BS decision that I complained about a couple episodes ago. How bad decisioning in boxing is hurting the sport of boxing. Judges and now referees who are judging fights at the same time. I haven't heard anything like that since last time supposedly that happened was in the 30s. First of all, a referee has no business judging a fight. His job is to referee, not judge scorecards. So I don't know what went on, but it's these decisions alone that's hurting the sport of boxing. As I mentioned a couple episodes ago, MMA is making a huge noise, and it's like it's not its fault that's taking all the fans away from boxing. It's bad corruption and decisionings that's happening in boxing that's forcing the fans to seek somewhere else, such as MMA. For me, I'll always be a boxing fan. I love the sport too much, which is why I have to vent a bit and say that the sport needs to be cleaned up, because I don't want to be the only boxing fan left who still watches the sport. I mean, I think it's making a comeback because of men like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Ortiz, and in the lower weight classes, guys like Bud Crawford, Triple G, Saul Canelo Alvarez, both were fighting this weekend. And Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis, and even Manny Pacquiao still fighting, and it's exciting. I mean, the sport is making a comeback, and right now it cannot afford any more bad decisions and crazy nonsense that's going on. So that's my take on it. Again, congratulations to Anthony Joshua. Also, congratulations to Shakur Stevenson on his victory Saturday night over Clary, and I believe it was his first fight at super junior lightweight. So I hope and pray that I see big things for him. He's definitely impressed me as a fighter, and I hope to see him get another title shot in his second weight class. And that's all I'll say about that. Um, that's it for now. Thank you for your time. I'm LeRoy Peters, and this is the World of Boxing Corner LeRoy. Y'all, please do be safe. Continue to wear your mask, and hopefully, I'll see y'all next week.